This is the Smoke Break Therapy Podcast. A show where we sit down with the fam to discuss important topics while getting super deep to Pass the J.
4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Well, my point is, this guy, he apparently, they kicked everyone out and they condemned my buildings, right? And so when that happened, there was one guy who took a stand and he refused to leave.
His apartment?
And they shut the power down, the water down, all this stuff. And he just, stayed there for, 3 months. And, had a flag out and everything. Yeah, it was, a whole thing. But I don't know what to call it when it's one guy. It's not a revolt, but,
He had his own revolution.
Yeah, I guess.
A sit-in.
Matt.
A stay-in.
How many years did Mama own this place? 18. What's
Not
that?
that
That's
long.
6 years. That's about what I said,
No,
right?
it's probably 5 years.
That's about what I said, though. I said 5 or 6
6
years. Yeah. All right. So my point was that my building, and the cool part about this is it ties back to the first place I owned in Haverhill, right? The same people built it, both buildings, and that's why there's so many similarities with the railing and the
2017.
17. So I was even closer. Boom. There you
Look
go.
at you go.
So, Matt, just so you know, the show is called Smoke Break Therapy, but we understand that not all guests smoke.
Yeah.
But it makes it interesting to people because we come up with really ridiculous questions, but people learn about things they don't know about.
All right.
What
That's
are we
how
going to
the
teach him?
No. He's
Teaching us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Realty.
Right.
I don't know nothing about it.
Me neither.
Right.
I bought a house, though.
Barely. Kind of. I
I was
don't know if you
gifted a
called.
house.
Yeah, you were gifted a house, if anything. Anyway, we got a plan before. Wow,
Old school lighting.
that is weird looking. Is that bugs?
Might be.
Probably.
So, are we? Did it work? I hate this thing. Okay.
And go.
It's on.
Hello, everyone.
So, me and Matt were in a... Wow, I saw that happen. In a car accident. So when I was moving out of Haverhill the first time, remember I told you about those places I lived in Haverhill, which was why it was so ironic earlier when we were having a conversation. Nick moved there, and the same people that built my current place built that place, blah, blah, blah. I'm getting off subject. So, first time I moved out of the place I moved to when I was 18, Matt helped me move. We used Poppy's truck. That's also how Poppy's truck, I believe, was totaled, correct?
Yeah, that was the end of Poppy's Road.
Yeah, that was the end of it. It was actually, that was the one where I don't know if I quoted it on the podcast, but he looked at me when he had this truck and he said, "This is the standard model." I said, "Give me what I pay off right now. No money. I don't want no stereo, no CD player, nothing. I just want what I pay off now and have to pay nothing later." And so that's what you got. You got the GMC, the Canyon? Yeah, which are so much different now. They're crazy different now.
He also got a 2-door.
Yeah, but it's the most standard model you could possibly get. I've never, yeah. Anyway, we totaled that because some fucking asshole, some hairy bastard who looked homeless, I only remember this because one of us made a comment against him and the cop was like, "You need to calm down." But the point was, we were talking, he just hit us. We had our blinker on, we're sitting there, we're waiting to turn down Victor Street in Haverhill, we're just... just doing all the law-abiding
Doing all
things
the
people
stuff.
do,
He just drove.
and it was an Ira van. Like
Yeah,
the
it was a
company,
company.
like an Ira van or whatever,
I'm
and
surprised.
it plowed into us.
The lawyers we talked to were weird. It almost seemed like they didn't want
That I don't know why we went to lawyers that Mimi sent us to that we
Yeah, that
didn't
was
even know.
That was the mistake.
Like that made no sense to me. But like I guarantee you, and Mimi always gives me shit about it. Is
If we went
should
to
have
any other
sued
lawyer,
any other lawyer. We probably would
Yeah.
have had a different scenario. Because remember how I tell you, because this podcast is called Smoke Break Therapy, we constantly smoke together. When I laugh so hard that the back of my head hurts,
Oh, there's a medical reason for it.
that accident is the medical reason that happens. Ever since that day, when I get super high and I laugh uncontrollably, right here, the back of my head just hurts uncontrollably
Maybe you have a
painfully.
bone loose or something.
And literally get. And,
And-
I don't even think you took
And
a
wait,
CT.
we haven't gotten to the part where I'm an asshole. So
Seriously?
we're in the hospital. They're checking me out. I just want to get the fuck out. I just want to get the fuck out. Like, let me out. Mom's like, no, you need this scan and that scan. And I'm like, nope, get me out.
Terrible
Because
job.
I refused all kinds of treatment and I was yelling at people and I just wanted to get the fuck out. That's another reason we can't sue, because I never got any scan, any nothing.
It's the first thing you do.
Yeah,
Seriously.
I know. And I yelled at my mother and made her cry. So how much of an asshole do I feel like?
You should.
So,
I think it's just nothing
I have,
hard.
I have another great topic that we're going to talk about on the podcast. So your daughter is...
12 years old.
I'm sorry, what? That's not accurate. My point is, your kids are pretty similar in age. Her 3-year-old got expelled.
How does a 3-year-old get?
Yeah, it's the topic. There we go.
Because he has ADHD in the school.
Oh, whoa.
I got ADHD.
It took a long time for them to figure that out. Give the
6
reasons
months.
he was
Yeah,
actually...
what was he doing?
Yeah.
Destroying the classroom, escaping the classroom 10 to 30 days and get 10 to 30 times a day. He would get from the basement all the way to the front door of the school. What was he doing?
He
Yelling, kicking.
also threatened to kill his teachers or shoot them, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He talked about a
And
gun,
he was
maybe.
physically aggressive to the teachers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheapers.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's super fun.
So she's the first person I've ever met that had a 3-year-old that was expelled.
For threatening to kill the school.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
not the whole school, just the teachers. I mean, just the teachers.
He's great with
But-
kids.
But the experience she had is such a shit show that explains the system. That's why it's so interesting. Like, she had to wait so long to get this and that test. They wouldn't
Yeah.
give her anything until she got an actual
they
diagnosis
wouldn't-
caused
she
by
had
the
to find out
test.
what's wrong with it. And I actually just went through it myself. So I have ADHD.
Oh, really?
And she wouldn't give me anything unless I
Did
tested for it. So
I'm going through testing in July.
Because
as
of
an
her
adult.
kid, yeah.
because of my kid, but
I mean, I tested, but I was like, I have ADHD. Like I had it when I was a child. I was medicated for it. I don't know
Yeah.
why I have to test again, but I guess this is the way things are now. Like I had to sit down and literally do like 5,000 things. It was like a 4-hour test. You sit.
Yeah,
down,
yeah.
And you have to for me it was, I had to. The first thing I did was draw a picture, looking at a picture, and then I had to do a bunch of other stuff. I can't remember what they were. A lot of patterns, a lot of
yeah.
things you would think in an ADHD test, and then randomly he'd be like, redraw that picture, and I have to redraw it from memory. So I had to redraw the picture probably like 7 times throughout this testing over the 4 hours. We finished, and then we had a follow-up appointment, and I honestly thought I failed. I thought I did so well
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I was like, he's like,
You
you don't
were
have
gonna-
ADHD. Yeah. And I didn't. I failed. It did bad. I
Yeah.
did bad. So
I just want to tell you, as a current person who's been diagnosed with, well, my actual diagnosis is ADD and not without the H or whatever.
I heard rumors
But-
that the H is there's no ADD. I heard it's just.
I disagree
ADHD.
because there's a perfect example of people who have the same symptoms but are super hyper, and then
Yeah.
people who have the same symptoms that aren't hyper
I don't
at
know
all.
if the hyper is part of it though.
Well, that's the H.
No, but I don't think it's a physical attribute of the disease. I don't think it's...
It is with the age.
It's
That's
just
what I
concurrent
think. That's
with
what I think
the-
differentiates the two from being the same diagnosis. That's what I think it is that hyperactivity. You look like you're like...
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Sorry.
Like, I thought I was told there's no ADD. It's just ADHD. So I'm trying to think. I'm
Well,
trying
that's what I'm actually
I'm trying
diagnosed
to say the
with.
word in my head.
It's just attention deficit disorder. Yeah.
I know, but I'm trying to think of it like why the attention deficit hyperactive disorder, why the H would be there. Like,
Well, look at though. I have a perfect example. So, like, Nick was diagnosed super young. That's my brother, for those who don't know. But he was diagnosed super young with the H, and he was a super hyper child, which I actually think you were too, kind of.
Yeah.
So, like, but like, my point is, he got diagnosed with the H. I feel like I should have been diagnosed with the H later. Like, when I got my actual diagnosis was when we moved to this state, and that was like
My kid
14.
definitely has age.
And so, like, I wasn't hyper, and then I started taking the drugs, and then later in life, I, like, don't take the drugs, and now I'm hyper without them. You know what I mean? Like, it's a weird transition. But him, he's had, like, I point like he's here, but had the opposite, like, thing. Like, complete opposite, like, reactions to meds and everything. Like,
but the symptoms are different for everybody else.
What do you mean?
Like, ADHD symptoms aren't the same for you or for me.
oh, no, 100%. Right.
Like
I'm just saying,
I'm
like-
ADHD, but I'm not hyper.
Yeah.
I'm actually tired 95% of the day.
Well, okay, so I guess I get what
It's
you're
more
saying.
like a
I think
brain
that
hyperactivity, like
with
your
the
mind
way
could
that
be, yeah.
diagnostics have
Yeah.
changed, I feel like, yeah, sure, they probably faded out the H or whatever.
No,
or
I just
not
thought
having
I
the
thought it
H,
was
you know what I
interesting
mean?
because, like, I agree with you where I'm like, there's, like, I think of, like, squirrels. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they just,
Yeah.
Bounce.
like, they're bouncing off the walls. And then there's people that just are chill, but they just can't focus.
Right.
But I guess, like, I just heard that they had got rid of
They
it.
might
Just
have,
call
because
it that.
honestly, I used to read the DSM, like, religiously,
Yeah.
but now I think there's, like, 2 editions past when the last time I've looked at it. So,
Yeah. Well, the testing's annoying.
I was gonna.
Yeah.
Well,
I watched
that
my
was the
son
whole.
do it 2 weeks back to back, and each one was like 2-3 hours long, and it was so hard to like
They
sit.
did two of them for him?
Well, because that's the thing.
Because he's...
He's also not old enough to
He's also
be
full.
diagnosed. Like, you're
No,
technically
no,
not supposed
according
to.
to the school system. His
Right,
psychologist
but like
has
that's
no
what I'm
problem
saying. According to the
diagnosing
school
him.
system, he's technically not old enough to be diagnosed with that.
Yeah.
I agree, it's stupid, but
So
like,
when it all first happened, like the doctor wasn't going to do anything, so we had to reach out to all these different places at once because all the wait lists were 3 to 6 months long.
Oh, yeah.
So I signed him up for almost every place I could, and then it finally just kind of like landed back to back. We did the Havel school system first,
Mhm.
and then he had like one with an actual children's neuropsychologist. The children's neuropsychologist says he has ADHD, definitely, possibly autism as well. So we brought all of that information back to the school, and in their observations of him, he's quote unquote shown that he's capable of.
But autistic people are capable of doing anything.
right,
Yeah.
right. That was what I
Elon
said.
Musk, I believe,
yeah.
is autistic.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure.
Dude,
He
oh my
came out
god.
and said it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like there's highly functioning and like
Yeah.
I know plenty of people. I have friends that have
I'm pretty
autistic
sure-
kids,
I
and
don't know if
wouldn't
he'd
have
be-
a clue that they were autistic.
I don't know if he'd be comfortable with me saying this, so I'll bleep it if he's not. But I'm pretty sure he just told me he was on the spectrum based on like a test he just recently had from a doc. Not recently, but like a year or so ago, whatever. He's actually on the spectrum. He's on this podcast a lot.
Yeah, I mean it's they can do anything. I mean they're all just.
Well, that was my
it's how
point.
to
Was you
manage
wouldn't
it.
know? You wouldn't think
No.
that. Like, yeah.
No, it's how to manage it. It's also like having awareness of it
And it is a very wide spectrum. Like, you
Of
can
course.
be someone who can
You can
barely
be a-
function, and then you
like-
can be someone who can do everything
Like
that
you're
someone
a
else would
literal
do.
genius.
Like, yeah,
Like-
yeah, exactly.
and I think a lot of autistic traits are very similar to ADHD.
Oh, for
100%.
sure.
I've
Yeah.
made that comparison actually a lot.
They line up a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm sure you probably came across it. I don't know if you have. I don't know how much time you spend on the internet. But I saw this video of this guy interviewing an inmate. He was autistic, an autistic person interviewing an inmate.
Like a recent inmate or like an older?
It looks like it was older.
Okay.
The video looked like it was actually older, but the inmate was himself older as well.
Mm.
And so this autistic guy was like asking questions, and the inmate was like, "Yeah, you wake up at the same time every day. You eat at this time exactly, and then you get in line, and then you're moving boxes. You have to work. You moving boxes this, and then you're in for lunchtime at the same time every day, and you're in your cell at this time for this amount of time, and all these things." The autistic guy was like, "You get in a line, you going up and down, like you have this structure," and he was like, "How do I get in jail?"
Yeah, no, but that's what I was gonna say.
He was like, "I want to be in jail."
I didn't know if you were gonna mention, but like I've read or seen more videos or documentaries or whatever on people that like were autistic and would prefer to stay in jail because it's so structured. It makes it so much more like computable to them.
So
and it's just
he asked the guy, he's like, "How do I get in here?" He's like, "Well, my cellmate robbed a bank." And but he was like,
I don't think I saw this.
He's like, "I need to be in jail. This sounds amazing. Like, I need to be here." But there are tons of ADHD. Like, I think mine is.
Are you on medication?
Whenever.
That's a personal
When I
question.
remember to
That's a
take it.
personal question.
When I remember to take it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've spent every single day since I moved to this state on medication.
I'm figuring out what medication's right for me. So we're trying not to make my anxiety worse.
So, actually, this leads to something else I wanted to talk about on the podcast. There's something else I was going to say when I'm, like, a current, like, diagnosed person or whatever. Have you heard about the Adderall, like, shortage?
No.
Oh, my God. I've been through some
Everyone
shit trying to get these pills that I've been prescribed for, like, 10 years.
Literally.
Like,
probably more, it feels like.
yeah. No, it would be more than 10.
Probably.
But I've taken it every day. And, like, from the beginning of this year till now, I've spent, like, almost a week scattered without that medication. The feelings I've had, the different things, it's weird. Like,
Well, at this point,
I've spent so long on it, and but my point is, they don't give a fuck.
No.
Like, they'll just not help you if you
And they don't
ask
even
too
they don't
much.
have like a generic version of Adderall.
Well, no, they do, but like then they don't go about prescribing it right. Like I could tell you that, like, all right. So when the shortage happened, they were aware of it. They told everyone. They were like, "Hey, be ready for this. Call some pharmacies. Do this and that. Maybe you should switch up your medication," which would have been the first time I've done that in all of that time. And so they tried me on Vyvanse. Keep in mind, back in the day when I was younger and I was more experimental with drugs, less so than I am now, I would, if it was a day or so that I would go without it, I'd go to mom or I'd go to my brother who was constantly on those type of meds, and I'd ask them for, whatever they were taking to try and like make up for that day or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that experience, I tried Ritalin, Adderall, like different forms of Adderall, and then like Vyvanse, long-lasting Ritalin, which was news to me, and then
extended release.
Yeah, because Ritalin, when I started taking the drugs, Adderall was the long-lasting Ritalin, and Ritalin was the short-lasting Adderall. Like that's how it was like designed. And then
so Ritalin you can take. Like, you don't need it to be in your system. You don't need to take Ritalin
it's shorter
like 4
lasting.
days.
Yeah, it's shorter lasting.
Get in your system.
It's like an instant.
It's an instant.
Yeah. But that's the point. Is like, so now they have long lasting that, and I've tried that. So when you take awkward. I didn't turn the speaker up. Anyway, like when you have the long lasting whatever stuff, you go to the short, it's just like you have to take it like 3 times a day or something. It's weird. It's like the way that stuff like adds up. But then you look at, and mom has tried every one in the book. But half the time she doesn't find what works for her. And she's like, took 1 pill. Shit don't work for me. Like that was it. And like...
Yeah.
So like it's all about the body chemistry too. Like you were saying, no one has the same ADD.
No.
Like,
Mine's complete, like, I don't know, like... mine's weird. Like I didn't even know some of these like symptoms were symptoms of ADHD, like random, like getting frustrated when things, like simple things, get me insanely frustrated.
I wanted to sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. It was just that I have a great TikTok to show you after this that showed me, and she was like, "This is the definition of you," and she was like, basically the guy goes, "So I didn't think there was anything different about me because I'm from New England, but I apparently see yellow," and they're like, "What the fuck are you seeing yellow?" And he's like, "You don't ever look at an inanimate object and get so furious with it that it didn't do what it was supposed to do the first time?" Yeah. And then he I gotta show you it for it to be that funny, but basically that's how I feel about ADD. Yeah. I get angry all the time, and the only thing I can figure out that it is
ADHD. Yeah. It is true.
Since I was young too.
It's everything. Something simple. I don't like when little things that shouldn't go wrong. And it makes me like yesterday Alyssa asked me to put the propane tank in the fire pit thing.
Wait, hold on.
And I went.
That sounds like an explosive issue.
It's the fire pit that Jason had. They had here.
But you put a full propane tank in?
Yeah, you attach it.
Like a propane.
It's part of. Okay, when you say fire pit, I'm assuming it's like a real fire pit, and you're throwing a propane tank.
No.
I was getting concerned.
I went to take you pull the door out and you put the propane in, and then you slide it back in. Stopped halfway.
Oh.
You couldn't put it in or take it out, and I lost my mind.
Yeah.
I do that a lot in his room with his dresser because it's just so.
Well, your kid's hard to put to sleep in general. He doesn't want to sleep. Friggin'. Dominic's entering the room. Welcome to the podcast.
What?
Hey.
Hello.
We're
Talking about ADD.
I gotta pee.
Oh, okay. Have fun.
Don't mess it up.
All right. I think we should take a smoke break now that Nick's here, and then we'll be back to you.
But I told them in advance what I'm looking for and stuff like that. So
I just paid mine off and it's falling apart. So yeah, every time. Matt's tailgate won't open.
Yep, won't open.
And he has a Volvo.
And I ran into a tree.
Wait, what?
I fell asleep while driving.
What?
Yeah.
When?
That's a problem.
Wow.
I got a concussion last week.
Yeah, I showed him the picture.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Yeah, I fell asleep I don't know, a month or something ago, 2 months ago.
What? Why?
I
How?
just was too tired.
What? Why? How?
Yeah.
All I'm gonna say is have kids, and you tell me you're not almost falling asleep
So,
while driving.
well, just say it's the kids. I would have just been like, okay, that makes sense.
Well, I mean, it might have been, but I don't know. I ended up going to the doctors. I got blood tests and stuff.
It's not like when you were younger, right? Like when you
Not
used to
seeing
faint.
No, it wasn't fainting. I literally fell asleep. I was driving, I was
100%.
and then all of a sudden, I fell into the grass.
Several times.
And then I woke up when I was in the grass, and I was between
What the fuck?
the guardrail and the trees.
Wow.
And I was just like, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I was
That's
it was
scary.
bad news.
You said tree though? Where was the?
495.
Oh,
I was
okay.
on the highway.
Okay.
I was in the break. I was in the fast lane. I fell asleep in the fast lane. I woke up literally between
Not that I see.
the guardrail, and the next morning I was going to work, and I was looking at all those guardrail.
Oh, and you
tree
saw the
sections,
spot, yeah.
And you can see my tire marks, but at the same time, it was the only one that wasn't something that would have killed me immediately. All the other ones had a bridge, so it would have gone down into other traffic, and other ones, the trees were no gap. It was just trees and guardrail. That was the only one that had guardrail, trees, for whatever reason, just a path. I was like, wow,
That's crazy.
that was weird. And I didn't even stop. I just kept going, and I was just like, okay. And then I was like, I gotta get back on the highway.
That's exactly how I felt about because you're both going to Haverhill. You know, when you go on the on or off, I think it's the off ramp for when you leave your exit for Haverhill.
Yeah,
and
well,
there's.
Oh, thank you.